is very concerned. She's concerned that I won't be able to do this before the natural light goes away. Not that the natural light is doing anything for me right now. I am just trying to film one of my 2 wrap-up videos for January as quickly as I possibly can so I can get one out before February hits tomorrow. And I've been at work all day, and I was at work all day yesterday, and when I got home, life. So I am trying to film it today. However, Lola is burdened with 2 chewies and a ducky that she needs to hide somewhere. She is very concerned about their safety. And so I'm going to let her get to that. And I am going to try and share with you my first of 2 wrap-up videos. I said, if you watched my TBR for January, that I was going to, or maybe it was my TBR for February, that I am going to change the way I do TBRs. Hang on. Okay, I changed the lighting a little bit because it was like, whoa. This is dark, but at least it's not. Shall I do it again? Whoa. So, it's okay. So, this feels better. Anyway, I am going to share with you one of 2 of my wrap-up videos for the month of January. Coming soon, this weekend, will be The Game, which will debrief more of what I read, but not all of what I read in January. What you have here right now is my 5 favorite reads of January. And these may or may not have been 5 stars, and they may or may not have ended up on my possible favorite reads of the year list. What they really are is just the 5 books that I most enjoyed for whatever reason in the month of January. And yeah, I'm just going to dive into them. The first one I listened to on audio. I don't have a physical copy of this yet. I will get one. That is Lessons in Chemistry. This was one of the 12 recommendations by 12 friends to read recommendations that I got. I am so grateful that I got it because this was such a great read. The dog, 630, is my favorite character, maybe of all the characters that I encountered all month long. I just love what the author did with 630. In fact, when I was walking home, I was listening to it and I had to stop in the middle of the road and do a quick Google search to make sure that 630 would not be killed. Spoiler alert, 630 does not get killed. So I finished reading the book. It is a weirdly jubilant, but terribly heartbreaking book all at the same time. This book is insightful and generous and truthful and painful and trigger warnings. Please look into that before you read. I don't tend to look into trigger warnings, but obviously a trigger for me would be animal death, pain, confusion, torture, abuse. I won't read anything with any of that in it. However, most other things I can handle. And so there are some things that you may not be able to handle. Please look into it. But no, 630 is going to be just fine. Another book that I really loved reading this month was the first book that I read this month, and that was Diary of a Provincial Lady by E.M. Delafield. And this was just, while I was reading it, I didn't realize how much it was sticking with me, but I have thought about it and gone back to it all month long, and that for me is the mark of an amazing book. I may or may not have thought, yeah, that is one of my favorite reads. I did not think that, but in reading it, I created some kind of new hook to hang thoughts on. And I just really think that the voice is very vivid in my head. Now, this makes sense that I would love this book. This book reminds me of so many books that I already love that are in the same style, that were probably inspired by this book. And actually for the Kindred Spirits book club, we read Diary of a Nobody, which I think inspired this book. So we had Diary of a Nobody that I read, and then we have this one that I read and loved. But it's also reminiscent of Bridget Jones's Diary, which I know is inspired by Pride and Prejudice, but it feels very much like Diary of a Provincial Lady. And also my favorite silly book series of all time is the Shopaholic series. And she sounds just like this woman, like the Provincial Lady and the heroine in the Shopaholic series, Becky Bloomwood, sound exactly alike. Different time periods, different hang-ups, different addictions, different places in life. The Provincial Lady is married and has children. Becky Bloomwood grows into that. The way they deal with society and life and figuring out their place in it sounds very much the same. So I was already primed to love the Provincial Lady, and I thought I was enjoying the Provincial Lady. I think I gave her 5 stars when I was finished reading her, but then I thought that she would kind of dissipate into the air, and she hasn't. She has really stayed with me, and I would like to continue reading this series. Maybe not this year, maybe this year, but definitely by the end of 2024. The next book that I really enjoyed was a reread, and that was Poison Princess by Kresley Cole. This is the first in a series that I'm going to be reading all of in the coming months. I knew that I enjoyed this. I wanted to come back to it. I want to finish the series. The final book, I think, is supposed to come out this year. We've had a few false starts with the... she's going to play her toy for us. Thank you. Thank you. We've had a few false starts with the release date for that final book. It's been years in the making, but I think we do finally, I think there's a cover and everything now. So I wanted to reread the series. There are several books in the series that have been out for a while that I didn't get to, just because people stop reading series, like nothing against the series. I knew I enjoyed it. But when I picked this back up, I ended up reading the entire thing in one day without intending to, because I couldn't put it down at the end of every chapter. I was just like, well, just one more chapter. So is this the greatest writing on the face of the earth? Absolutely not. But is this a really enjoyable experience for me to read? 100% yes. Absolutely love it. It's engaging. It pulls me in. I cringe every time I read Jackson say, "Bebe." Every time. Why does he call her that? It's so grotesque. But I love it still. So definitely one of my favorite reads of January. If you have not read that dystopian YA romance series based on the Arcana, the tarot Arcana, then I highly suggest, my hair is insane, then I highly suggest you give it a try. All 3 of my favorite books so far have been extremely different from each other. Extremely different. And this one does not disappoint in that area. My 4th favorite book, these are not ranked, but the 4th one I'll tell you about is The Big Bang Theory, the definitive inside story of the epic hit series by Jessica Radloff. This was such an amazing read. The amount of work and care that went into the creation of this book is mind-boggling to me. What Jessica Radloff has done is spent hours and hours and hours watching the show, of course, poring over scripts, and interviewing people, interviewing the cast, interviewing the producers, the directors, the writers, the parents of the cast, people who almost made it on the cast but didn't, like interviewing just everybody you can imagine and more. And then weaving a cohesive narrative together using just the interviews, the transcripts. And she didn't interview these people at the same time in the same place. So it's just, like I said, it's mind-boggling the way that she has woven this together. It is about the show, yes, but it is also about the zeitgeist of the time, and it is also about television making and entertainment, and it is also about relationships and growing up and how not to handle fame. It is about the writing process. It is about how to tell a story that people will remember and want to hear. It is about what to do when you mess up a story that you've been telling, how to succeed after failure. It is about how to carry yourself in the midst of success. It is about friendship. It's such a good book. It is so well crafted. It's quotable. I love it. I really love it. I wish that there were more books told in this way. Jessica Radloff, I want more. I want more. This was more satisfying than any of those like HBO Max reunions or whatever. This was brilliance. It really was brilliance. It's so crafted. It's so beautiful. And would you get that much out of it if you did not love the show? Yeah. Yeah, I think you would. I really do. Highly recommend. It's big. It's heavy. It took me about a month to read, but it's amazing. And finally, this one. It surprises me that this one is on my stack, but it firmly belongs here. Hey, Lola. Lola, are you chewing on that blanket? Could you not chew on that blanket, do you think? What do you think about not, oh, Lola, what do you think about not chewing on that blanket? Oh, who's that? Who's that? This last one surprises me. Can I get it in here? I gave it 5 stars, but I also felt very conflicted about the reading experience. And the more that I have been away from it, the more I have realized that I actually really, really like it, faults and all. And that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Something inside me dies a little when I think, yeah, I like the book that everybody else likes. I'm that person. I'm that person. I don't want to like what everybody else likes simply for the fact that, you know, I want to be different. But I like it. I like it a lot. I particularly like the way in which it shares the significance of video games for relationship building and communication, to be that third thing in the room. I have a friend in a book group that we talked about with this book. Did that sentence make sense? I don't know. I'm so tired. Note to self, don't try to film these things after work on a Tuesday. But here we are. I am in a book group and we talked about this book. And he mentioned, you know, the importance sometimes of having a third thing in a relationship, like that third person or that craft or that activity, and how games for him and his friends often are that third thing. They enable people to sit down together and have something to do with their hands so that their mouths are free to talk. And I just thought that was so brilliant. My favorite part, and I think it's a lot of people's not favorite part, but my favorite part in this is the chapter that makes you kind of do a quick jolting stop, where they are in the game that is most like Oregon Trail. And they're dealing with grief. And I love, love, love the layers in this book. The fact that inside that game, they make a game and play it. There's so much more, and I won't ruin it for those of you, the 2 people on the planet that haven't read it yet. If you are one of those 2, and you are one of those 2 because you, like me, don't want to like the thing that everybody else likes, in this case, you're only doing yourself a disservice by not reading this book. It's really wonderful. Is it flawed? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean it wasn't one of my favorite reads of January. Stay tuned. Coming soon to a Chicky Bean Loves Books YouTube channel near you is going to be the second part of my wrap-up, which is my wrap-up game, which has the potential to cover any of the 28 books that I read this month, but it will not cover them all. So tune in for that. It's coming soon. Definitely this weekend, if not before. Judging by how tired I am and how hard it is to form sentences right now at 5:02 in the evening, after just getting back from work, I think probably the weekend. But you never know. To wrap up, my 5 favorite reads of the month of January: Lessons in Chemistry, Diary of a Provincial Lady, The Poison Princess, The Big Bang Theory, and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. What were your favorite reads of January? And have you read any of these and did you like them? I'll see you later. I'll see you soon. For now, I'm gonna go get dinner and then let's go read.